Our next presentation is on how to use online properties for both your campaign or your activities for the Libertarian Party. And I've passed out a handout with a list of some things that are absolutes, that are optional, and we're just going to kind of walk through some of these options and show you some of the best practices. And the first is a website. Let me first say that anything you use on the web is a tool. It shouldn't be your whole campaign. If you're running an entire web campaign, then you will probably run a great web campaign, but you probably will not make a big dent in the voters that you're talking to. Because, like Joyce said in a previous presentation, you're preaching to the choir for the most part. The people that are on our Facebook page or that view our website are generally libertarians. So these 3,300 libertarians get the message. The point of including, so it's important to keep in mind that this is just one aspect of your campaign or your organization. It's an important part, but it's not the end-all be-all of what you're doing as a candidate. So let's talk about probably the most important facet, which is a website. And I pulled up some websites here. Like, whoa, Rex, making me dizzy. I have talked to voters who will not vote for a candidate if they don't have a website. And it doesn't make a lot of sense, but in the new age of the internet, a campaign has to have an online hub for information. And it's very important that you present people with several things. And if you look at the bottom of the sheet, we talk about some of the elements that you're going to use across all of these platforms that are important to voters. The first is a headshot and photos. So if you look right here, Rex has his photo. He has the next part of what we're talking about, which is which is his logo. So he's got his headshot and his logo, so people can see his face. They can connect with who he is right away. A logo is just something that in the digital age is important, and you should get a logo. You can get a logo design for free by Andrew Markle here in the party. And if you're not in the party, or if he's not acting quick enough, you can go to 99 Designs or Logo Design Guru. Logo Design Guru is actually who Rupert used to create his logo, which is the top of the Indiana torch and 19 stars for the 19th state, Indiana, put into a circle, and then his name, Rupert, for governor. This logo and scheme have been used all across their business cards, their t-shirts, their buttons. So it's a visual identifier that people use to recognize your campaign, because sometimes if you had a button of your face, that might be a little much. So that might actually turn off some voters depending on your face. So the second part is a bio. Let's go to about Rex. Let's say I don't know Rex and I want to know a little bit more about him. I can learn about his history. It's important to have a bio. It's a very basic element of your campaign. The media uses it when they're doing background on you for stories. Voters use it to connect with you on a personal level. And the best place to keep that is to put it on your website. The second part is ways to connect with the candidate. So here's one way to connect with Rex. Get involved. You go to his page, you get involved. Rex has his address, his telephone number, his email address, and a contact form. So it's very easy to connect with Rex. If you have questions, if your website's not going to have all the answers. If your website has all of the answers, then your website is probably too big. Okay? You can be, if you look at Rupert's website, for instance, you've got Meet Rupert, you've got his running mate Brad, you've got his issues. He has more issues and specifics on his webpage than the other two candidates combined. I can promise you that if you look at the other two candidates' websites. But it still looks fairly short, and there are some people who will want a book. They will want to know, they will want to ask you questions and drill down to every part of your platform before they'll vote for you. And if those people don't have a way for them to get in touch with you, they're not only going to not vote for you, they're going to tell their friends and family not to vote for you as well. The second is your platform or your issues. What are you running on? Well, go to issues. We saw Rupert's. You know, Rex has a few things on here. He has a blog where he writes a lot. He even has a book where he talks about his philosophy. Doesn't have to be really long. This is the perfect length on a topic. Just a couple paragraphs about where you stand, because most people are going to agree, disagree, or want to know more. If they read this and they say, really, you're not for the stimulus? Well, then I'm not voting for you. I'm going to vote for the Democrat. All right? So it doesn't need to be really long, because realistically in this age, the more information you put out, the more that they're going to try and use against you. And by they, I mean opponents, surrogates for other candidates. So I'm not advising you to be vague. I'm advising you to be concise and short. You don't need to ramble on and on and on like I will do in this presentation. Now that you have more bandwidth in the internet, there are a couple things that are starting to really become popular and essential, and that's videos and audio. For instance, Rupert has his weekly podcast. I don't know how you get to it. See, this is a problem with their website. They have
It's coming soon.
podcasts. I've edited 6 of them, so I know that they have them, but I don't know how to get to them. You know, video is also very important on Facebook. You know, there's a picture of Frank earlier today teaching the class, and that gets 7 likes. So when those people like that photo, that puts the Libertarian Party of Indiana page in their feed. This right here, a picture of Elmo on our Facebook page gets 18 shares and 50 likes. All right, it's a big deal. Well, those videos and those photos help us to build reach online, to go beyond those 3,000 people that are party faithful. We want to connect to everyone else's friends and family. So, hold on, the internet's a little slow here. So let's go to reach. This is the makeup of our page over about the last month. Many of you will be shocked to see that we're 59% male, 40% female, which is actually far less skewed than the people that like our page, which is overwhelmingly male. Many of them from Indianapolis. So 804, approximately 1/3 of our likes are in the Indianapolis area. Fort Wayne is next. Bloomington, Greenwood, Indiana, Chicago, Illinois has beat Fishers, Evansville. And so that can help the state party target to our message. If we're Indianapolis-centric, we of course try to keep it as balanced as possible. But if I posted about West Lafayette, Indiana, well, there's only 20 likes from West Lafayette, Indiana. So that helps me figure out what content is better. And video and photos, and I can't find the actual page with the data. Video and photos carry far more reach than any other content. Videos and photos are easier shared. It connects almost instantly. Photos, something as simple as this, gives a tremendous amount of reach. And if you scroll down, you'll see this spike here in our reach. And we were able to hit 25,000 people seeing a certain post. So obviously to have a page of 3,000 people and then have a post that gets a reach of 25,000 is pretty great. Because think about 25,000 people. We got that exposure for free. We couldn't buy $25,000 or 25,000 people on TV. It would be far too expensive for our budget. But something as simple as a Facebook photo that people can share with their friends gives us that kind of reach, that tremendous amount of reach. Don't have the data for this, but I'd say that it probably tripled or quadrupled. That Elmo photo probably tripled or quadrupled the amount of reach that we had. And that means beyond these 3,000 people. Okay, does anybody have questions about reach and some of that content? We'll talk about tools on how to create some of this stuff. Another aspect of another element is donations. People want it to be easy to contribute or to volunteer. You have to make it very clear. You'll see on Rex's page that there's a lot of ways to donate. Right there. This big red box right here. This right here. And I bet if you scroll down, yep, there it is again. Okay? And you'll notice that the donate button is red. If you look at the LPIN webpage, we have a mostly blue website. Okay? With the exception of some color right here, but even there's a lot of blue there. A lot of gray and blue, a little bit of pop of color there. Well, if you look at the top of this page, what are the two red elements? Donate and how do I get involved? We wanted to contrast the red to the blue so that pops a little bit more so people see the donate button. They see the how do I get involved button. Because the two most important parts of our websites are donate and get involved. Yeah, we want to give you information like Indiana's Annotated Constitution by Andy Horning. We want to give you podcasts to help you learn who leaders are in the Libertarian Party. We want to give you training resources and fun polls and the news, which is down here. But really, all of that is designed to bring traffic to see these two red pieces. Because if you can't give financial equity, we want you to give sweat equity for campaigns and for the party itself. Other portions, yes, sir.
Have you A/B tested that to ensure that red is the best color? Maybe some things works better.
I don't have any studies. It is just the most vibrant color you can use without looking garish. If I had a neon green donate button or a bright yellow donate button, bright yellow would kind of wash and it wouldn't look as good. Neon would be too out of character for the website. For a website, a political website, red, white, and blue are pretty standard, and we've tried to use red, white, and blue without being cliche. Rex does a good job of using the red, white, and blue theme without being cliche. The pieces that are red are meant to draw your attention. Rupert's is mostly blue and gold, because Rupert and his campaign team decided that they wanted to use blue and gold to promote Libertarian Party colors.
Yeah, I actually created graphics for that.
Yeah, it's a very subtle thing. And these logos were created by the Logo Guru Design. They go to that website. We can put it up. You said you helped design?
No, I didn't have design. I helped create some of the Indiana banner in the middle.
Oh, okay.
And some other things at the bottom.
This is a website where you can go and you can start a project and you pledge $100 or $200 or $50 to the winner of the design contest, and you'll get 108 suggestions on average. There's 33,000 graphic designers that visit this website, look at project descriptions, create logos or designs like letterhead, envelopes, and then if their logo gets picked, then they get the money and you get a great looking logo. It is rumored that John Gregg, the Democrat in the Indiana governor's race, spent $19,000 on this logo. The other two parties will spend a tremendous amount of money on things like a logo.
We actually almost did something for that for Phil Miller's. That's not fun.
$19,000 versus $200 for Rupert. We'll get to this site later. This is Andrew Markle. This is a Warwick County Council candidate down south who took a very basic, this is a very basic WordPress template. You can see if you look at our site and Markle's site and Rex's site, it's designed, it's a magazine design template. This is not finished yet, okay, so I will say that, but it is a very nice website. If you look at, it's got Meet Andrew. It doesn't say about Andrew, it's got Meet Andrew. It's sort of personal. It's got that personal touch. Get involved. Volunteer on election day. It's April, but he is already gearing people to get involved on election day. Take election day off work so I can have you work at the polls. For a local race, that's huge. The issues, the latest news, events, blogs. You can contact him and you can contribute. He's on Facebook, Twitter, Vimeo, which is like YouTube, Flickr. You can email him or you can get his RSS feed. This is just, he's not President George Washington. He's just got that up as a dummy thing until he can get his social media set up. So he is, you know, a graphic designer, so it looks good, better than probably most, but it just has a lot of the right elements for a good campaign website. So, you know, those elements, the photo, the headshot, the logos, other types of photos, video, audio, bios, platforms, these are all the content that you will use across your platforms. And you'll not just use it on one platform. You'll use it on every piece of media that you use. If you do a video, have your logo on the videos. If you do an audio podcast, you know, end each podcast with a little bit about who you are, or what, make each podcast about what you stand for. Promote them on Twitter, on Facebook, and some of these other avenues. So where do you get a website done? Well, if you have a cousin that's a graphic designer, you can go to WordPress.org. Ours was done on WordPress.org because I had a cousin that's a graphic designer that helped us do this website for free. Rex found a party member that is good at designing websites and twisted his arm to do it for him. Markle does this for a living, so he's able to do that. To get somebody to do the building of the website and the graphic work for him. So what if you don't have a cousin that does websites? Where do you turn? And actually Jeremiah Morrill used one of those sites that I recommend, which is Squarespace. Squarespace is an out-of-the-box, it's a very simple website company. I set up one in about 5 minutes the other day, just kind of playing around preparing for this. You can try it free. There is a cost. It's either $8 a month or $16 a month. You really only need the $8 a month. You can get, you know, Jeremiah set his up at jeremiahmorrill.com. He can use Google Apps for email, and then he can start building out his website. It's obviously not finished, but there are some key elements. There's a blog to keep with up-to-date news about Jeremiah, the map, so you can find out if you're in his district. Contact, donate today, and I don't think you have any really extensive web design experience, do you, Jeremiah?
No, it's you know, that site is nice. It's the hosting. A lot of these different things, they are, you have to pay for somebody to design the website or have your own template that you can load into somebody else's web server. With the Squarespace software, it's all included for what I pay. I think I pay $13 a month or something for it. And then I paid $10 or something to GoDaddy to get the website, and it's mine. And they guarantee that it's up all the time. And you know, I've talked to some other friends about having it hosted somewhere. But this is just really paying for peace of mind and simplicity.
They host it for you, they give you the templates that you can easily build. Even Sam, who admits that he's a reformed Luddite, could set up a Squarespace site and make it look pretty decent. They give you, there's not even tours to watch. It's, as you go in, and I wish I could remember my login, but if you were...
We can try to remember how to get into mine, you can start playing.
Yeah, basically you have a little tag up here that says edit, move, update. they give you the little text descriptions of what you should do to that body. How can you add separate panels? So you can move things around, you can click and drag and put them in various places. It's just a very simple way to do an easy website. You don't need anything as...
You can go back over to like the map page. There's different, if you click on them, there's other, without a whole lot of effort, we were able to get, you know.
And this is not as big and as graphical as maybe Rex's, who's reaching more people, or the state parties, which is not a campaign designed for just 8 months, or Markle, who's a graphic designer. These are top-end websites. This is a very basic website that is going to fit the bill for Jeremiah without costing him more than $8 a month. He can do it himself. He's not relying on another person waiting on them to do free work. He's getting it done himself, and I promise you, anybody who uses Squarespace is able to do it. It's very, very easy. So that's a great option for people when they need a website done and done pretty quickly. Because the smaller the race that you're running, you're not going to get a lot of traffic. It doesn't have to be as big. You can spend a ton of time building something with this much content and this much color, but we have an established base of people that visit our website every day for news. I've tried very hard to make the State Party website the place to go for libertarian news in Indiana, because I want that traffic, because I want people to see how to volunteer, how to donate, how to connect with our candidates. So we have a bit more need than maybe a candidate who's going to get 20 to 100 hits per day in their local race. If you're running for a township advisory board and you've got 200 constituents, you don't need this. Just go with something basic. And I'm not picking on Jeremiah's site. It's exactly what he needs because he can do it quickly and update it regularly. The Squarespace doesn't come with email. If you're going to do a WordPress.org site, I recommend Bluehost. I like them a lot. If you're going to do a Squarespace account, it doesn't come with an email like Bluehost would. So you can go to Google Apps, and Google Apps for free will give you several emails. So you could have, even if you're the only person working on your campaign, you can have your own email. You can have a fundraising email. You can have a volunteer coordinator email, even if that all goes to one place. So email is incredibly important. It's a must. Foursquare is something that I recommend to everybody to use. Okay, I put it in the absolutes as opposed to the optional, because I think Foursquare is a fun way to share with people where you're campaigning, where are places that you like to visit and support. Foursquare is, if you don't know, it's a geotagging site. It's like a Facebook for locations. So if Rex is here today, Rex can tag and say, you know, my campaign and I are at the Newcastle Library at the LP 101 class meeting new libertarians. Then he can, that will push out to Facebook and Twitter, and it goes out to all of his supporters. Then he'll go to Bill's Diner for an event. He can tag that on his phone. Any smartphone will have Foursquare as an app. And say, you know, I'm at Bill's Diner, I love Bill's Diner, I support small business. You can give a little bit of a quick message about what you believe, who you support, places that you like to visit. It shows campaign activity. It shows that you support small businesses. It shows that you're doing an activity. And there may even be people, you know, you can say, I come to Bill's Diner every Tuesday night at 7. Join me if you want to ask me questions about my campaign. And Foursquare is a great way to show that activity, to show those places that you support. And like I said, it pushes out to Facebook and Twitter and pretty much anywhere else. I guess it's not an absolute, but I really think that that's a good thing for candidates to do, to show location. I did put, I don't know how Facebook got moved off of the absolute, so please write in Facebook, because Facebook is an absolute. Facebook is the new town square. Facebook is the place where discussions are taking place between friends and family these days. It is almost surpassing the phone as ways that people connect with each other, especially for Generation Y or the millennial generation, the generation that I'm a part of. I don't really talk to my mom on the phone that often. I talk to her on Facebook. And she sees my photos. She sees what I'm doing. She sees the work that I'm up to. So because she knows that if she calls me on the phone and says, hey, what are you up to? I'm going to be like, nothing, I'm at a Libertarian thing. But if she sees the description on Facebook, she's going to get a little bit more out of me. Well, it's the same way for your campaigns. It's a way for you to broadcast information. It's a way for you to add your positions and your discussions into the public square to your supporters. Okay? That's a very important distinction. That's something that I really want to get across today. When you post something on Facebook, you are posting to supporters. You really have to start training your supporters to share, 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 share. Because you want them to increase your reach. I want people, and Rupert's campaign has started to listen to me. There's a very big difference between the state party saying share, I will get 3 or 4 shares, and it'll be party leadership, like Rex or Sam or Jeremiah sharing a post. A candidate can build a cult of personality. People are more willing to follow a candidate than an abstract political party. So when Rupert, and let's just pause and take a look at that reach when we asked people to do this. They have 1,000 people on their Facebook page, but in a span of 6 days, they reached 120,000 people on Facebook because they went onto Facebook, they posted several times and said, this was designed for a reason. The end of the quarter happened, the Star printed how much cash they had on hand, and in true Libertarian fashion, it wasn't much. And so there were a tremendous amount of emails and phone calls from worried supporters going, you guys have only raised $5,000? Well, no, we haven't. And so you explain to the people who call in and who are concerned. But what do you do to the party faithful who are looking at that going, man, does he have any support at all? Well, let's go to Facebook and show the strength of our grassroots operation. Friends, I'm running a true grassroots campaign. I do not have corporate sponsors like my opponents, which means I need your help. Okay, so it gets that little dig in on the other two about how they are bought and paid for by the big corporate interests. It enforces the fact that he is not a man of corporations, he's a man of the people. And asks people, he gives a call to action. Please share this information and share any other information I post. 73 people liked it, 21 people commented, and 119 people shared it. They gained over 100 followers in 2 hours on their Facebook page, and it gave them a reach that day on their page for anything they posted for that 6-day period of 120,000 people. Okay, that's pretty significant. That's, an ad in the Indianapolis Star, okay, for free. And it's because they are using their Facebook page and the 1,000 people that they have following that page to their advantage by doing a couple things. They are giving a little bit of their message, which is a popular message and a true message. It's an honest message. Rupert doesn't get corporate donations. Rupert is running a grassroots campaign. He isn't like his opponents who are very corporate interested, which means those corporations have paid him a lot of money for desirable outcomes at the end of their race. And then he gives a call to action. He gives a very specific thing for his followers to do on Facebook. Share, 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 share. Help increase our reach. It's very nice to put out on Facebook your positions, but you also have to use those Facebook pages and those social media outlets to get results by giving a call to action. Ask people to share, ask people to donate, ask people to tell you about events, ask people to come to an event. Ask people, you know the elements of what you want to do in your campaign. You should have a campaign plan or some general direction of your campaign. Use these tools to help fulfill those goals and the ultimate mission of getting elected. And Facebook is a great tool because that's where the conversation is happening. There's 700 million people on this website, and you can reach those people, and you can see that libertarians can do it in a pretty effective way. I promise you that the Democrat especially doesn't have that kind of reach on their Facebook pages. So he is using his Facebook page to show his activity. They're kind of quiet this weekend because they're in Pennsylvania, which they mentioned. But Rupert is on the road 3 to 5 days a week. He's promoting an event here. They talked about their event in Greenfield. They have the photo album. They post a lot of pictures. And the reason they post those pictures is they do it for a couple reasons. They want to show how active he is. And with the amount of people that they post, these people, see, Karen Carter tagged herself in the photo, or her friend Carter tagged it. So that goes out to all of Karen's friends. I won't click on her page, but I bet that Karen probably has somewhere between 500 and 1,000 friends that just saw that, who will then like it, which goes on their profile, and it starts to expand and expand and expand.
I'll add to that. After my event with Rupert last week, I got probably, on just my little campaign page, I think I got 6 new likes from people that I didn't know because Rupert was with my campaign. That got linked to it, and I got extra people just from, you know.
You'll see on the State Party Facebook page and on Rupert's Facebook page, whenever we mention Rex Bell, whenever we mention Rupert, whenever we mention Jeremiah, we go in and we tag those people. We tag their page, because if you're doing a post, you know, here's
Nick Leslie.
Rupert with the Reason Guys, you know, here's Rex's Diner. So here's a person that shared it. And oftentimes, if you go and look at those shares, you'll see people who have shared off of other people's shares. So it becomes sort of like a pyramid scheme in a way. It just builds and builds and builds and builds. The more content that you post that people will like, i.e. photos and video and some audio, or messages like quotes, people love to repost quotes. You've got to balance out substance with the cute stuff. For every Elmo post, I will have 2 intellectual pieces that will satisfy people, or some piece of training. So it's like we talked about earlier. People are motivated by different things, so you try to hit people where they're motivated. So I will briefly go through some of the optional stuff and give my opinion on that for campaigns. Libertarian campaigns generally last from April to November. Not often do candidates start a year before, or even 2 years before. We want to try and move that back and back and back and keep building, because you see with Rex, who's run every other cycle at least, he's built a base of people who will vote for him every time. But most run from April to October, or April to November, I mean. And so it's very difficult to build audiences on social media and in other ways in that short amount of time. So you really have to think about what's the best use of your time. And websites and Facebook are really where I think the bulk of your energy should go. Because you've got a million other things to do in your campaign. You've got to fundraise, you've got to go to events, you've got to write position papers, you've got to talk to the local media, you've got to take the photos, edit the photos, take the video, edit the video. So what is the best use of your time? And really, I think the best 2 places to build an audience are on Facebook and getting people to go to your website. And really, Facebook is the front end, the website is the back end of what you're trying to do in your campaign. But some of the other places to build audiences are Twitter, which is popular. You can set up a Twitter and you can just feed stuff from your website and Facebook directly to the Twitter. Social media, quote-unquote, experts will say that is a bad thing to do, that you want to have you want to engage audiences in every place that you're present. But the fact is that unless you're on Twitter 24 hours a day, it's very hard to build a solid audience of people. But it is nice to have it as a distribution network of information. Email newsletters are usually good. I'm not sold on the effectiveness of email newsletters, much to the chagrin of some people. Email newsletters are very popular with Generation X and some baby boomers, okay? But they're starting to convert to getting their information more from Facebook. Generation Y, the millennial generation, are almost totally on Facebook. They don't even read email newsletters. Generation X and baby boomers do like email newsletters, but again, how fast can you build up that email newsletter? You're going to get 10 to 15% opens. That's a very good open rate on an email newsletter. We have a list of 3,000 people, so 10%, we generally get about 200 people that read our email newsletters when we send them out as a state party. It's taken us 10 years to build a list of 3,000 people. So you can see that it's kind of a slower build than Facebook for less benefit. Google Plus, there's not a lot of people on Google Plus, but it is something that can be beneficial. Pinterest, that's especially popular with females. So if you're running a campaign that is targeted to females, then Pinterest is a great way to connect with a more female-oriented audience. Instagram is a great photo sharing site. They just got bought by Facebook. You can set it up to automatically load to Facebook and Twitter. LinkedIn is more business-oriented, so if you are running in an area like Carmel or Fishers that has a lot of corporate constituents, then LinkedIn may be a good place for you to go. If you're working in Fountain Square or Broad Ripple, Broad Ripple is a very college-oriented town. Not a lot of LinkedIners in Broad Ripple. But on Pinterest and Instagram there are. Meetup is a site that shares events. If you have a lot of events or if you want to use it to keep a calendar, that's a good way to keep a calendar. You can also send out email blasts through Meetup once you build that audience. But again, after about a year and a half, we probably have 40 or 50 people in the State Party Meetup group. So it's not a very fast build like Facebook would be. So what are some of the tools that you're going to need to have a good, effective strategy? One of the things that I'd like to recommend is Boxcar. Boxcar is a website that you can set up that is a unified inbox. So if I keep everything together, my work emails and my personal emails and all of my notifications, everything goes to my Gmail account. Some people like to, well, that's not right. Some people like to keep things separate, and some people should keep things more separate. If you like to keep your personal separate from your work, separate from your campaign stuff, then Boxcar is an app that you can put on your smartphone or access on the website that will show you people that have called you on Google Voice, messaged you on Twitter, Facebook, your email account, Foursquare, and I don't know what people might or might not be saying to me, so I'm going to log out of that. But I just wanted to show you the interface a little bit. So I won't show my email either. But Boxcar is a great way to get all those messages for your campaigns, only your campaign-centric stuff, to an app on your phone or to a website that you can go and check once or 2 or 3, 4 times a day. And I would recommend getting back to people within a 24-hour period. So Boxcar is a good way to just put it all into one space and keep it there. Google Voice, if you don't want to give out your personal cell phone or your home address, get a Google Voice number. It's free and it'll forward automatically to your cell phone. Facebook groups, I get the question Facebook group versus Facebook page a lot from candidates. You really should go with a Facebook page to the outside world, but a Facebook group is a great way to collaborate internally. The Libertarian Party of Indiana is basically run in Facebook groups at this point. That's where our state central committee discusses, issues. There's a leadership group with 60 or 70 core leaders of the state party network and county party networks. That's how we give information to people. And there are campaigns, I know Rupert uses a group that one for the actual quote-unquote employees, because they're unpaid employees at this point, and one for supporters. 50 supporters around the state that can help mobilize on Facebook. So that's a great collaboration tool, because we've tried other stuff on the state party side, but everybody's on Facebook. Everybody already uses Facebook, and they don't like their email box getting junked up. So they can go check the Facebook group at their own leisure. So, you know, you do have to be diligent about it though. Google Analytics are a great way to track your website. That helps you determine what works and what doesn't. That tells you this post was, this type of post doesn't get nearly as many hits as this type of post. It just helps you concentrate your efforts better on certain audiences. That's how I know Facebook works better for us on our website than, okay, that's about all I need. That's how I know that Facebook works better than any other way that we promote our website, because almost all of our traffic is from Facebook. Google Reader is a great way to keep track of the news. Just dumps it all into one place, and then you can read local blogs, local newspapers. Batchbook is a website that will help you keep track of contacts and to-dos. It's a good way to keep track of people that you have those business cards and you want to remember 6 months from now what those business cards mean. Batchbook is a great website that you can load up, and you know, it gives you all the information. You know, I won't put Duncan's Duncan Adams of all people doesn't want his information on the website. So Evernote and Dropbox are two ways to keep track of files. Evernote especially, you can really automate to keep track of everything. I keep every email, every file, every little thing that I need to remember 2 months from now, I put into Evernote. Good way to keep track of stuff. Dropbox is a good way to sync documents for you and your team. Google Calendar, internally and externally, is a good way to promote your events. And then there's just some other stuff there that you should take a look at that will help you with some of those tools. You're going to need to take donations. You're going to need a bank account. You're going to need a credit card processor like PayPal or Pyrrhix or USA ePay that will connect to your website. Who do you use?
Pyrrhix.
Pyrrhix.
Who's the easiest one to deal with as far as the finance stuff?
You click on mine. Pyrrhix. They automatically deposit. Right now, they still automatically deposit the money right in, and they make it. That's actually not my website, but it's a really simple form that, you know, I think they take maybe 5 cents out of every dollar or 4 cents. It's not terrible.
Rupert uses as well.
Rupert uses Pyrrhix. We use USA ePay. That's about 2 cents out of every dollar. That's the cheapest, but it's not as easy to use as Pyrrhix. PayPal is about 3 to 4 cents per every dollar. It's pretty standard, but they will give you a little bit of hassle when you try to start a campaign account. Pyrrhix is really who most of our people are using right now on the campaign side. You know, so you basically just link to the Pyrrhix site through this donate. People donate, the money gets deposited into your bank account.
That also pulls up through, if you go look at my Facebook, the Hoosiers for Jeremiah Facebook page, there's a donate button inside of the Facebook account as well.
They do
Right on the fan page.
They let you do monthly on Pyrrhix too.
Yeah, well that's me, that's not the,
Oh,
yeah. Just type up at top, just type Hoosiers for whatever, Hoosiers for me.
So on the Pyrrhix stuff,
Yeah.
is the form, can you
It's,
choose like like things that are not needed? Can you get rid of those, or is it just one?
I think it's pretty standard. Yeah, but the Give Now shows up, and then it pulls up on Facebook. It pulls up the the way to give. So it's the same thing. So you can give right to the Facebook page.
same website as this over here.
Mm-hmm.
So you can process donations with credit cards. That goes into your bank account. It also is a great way to keep track of donors and who gives. That is incredibly necessary when you're running for office. Even if you're running, you know, a very, I wouldn't call it paper candidacy because we don't run a lot of paper candidates anymore, but you don't really intend on raising a lot of money. People are still going to want to give to you, and so it's worth looking into setting some of this stuff up. If you are running a really advanced campaign, I did put down Civic CRM. I don't recommend that. I would recommend using some of the other tools that I've listed. Unless you're running a complex campaign like Rupert's campaign, Civic CRM is a lot of hassle, but I wanted you to be aware that that is a tool that is useful if you're running a bigger campaign. And ifttt.com automates everything. So you get an email, it'll go into your Evernote. If you post something on Facebook, it'll go to Twitter and Google+. So that way you're not having to copy and paste on 17 different sites. ifttt.com will just forward it all for you. So check that out. That's a really good site. So as a wrap up, don't do this, okay? This is considered the worst campaign site in history, all right? This is $8 a month and incredibly easy and good looking and functional. And it took a fraction of the time that this took, okay? I don't know what this guy stands for, but I'm guessing he's a Tea Party fan. This goes on and on and on and on and on. And believe it or not, there are a lot of people who consider themselves professional website builders, and then they build a campaign website by August, and this is what it looks like with the teal background and the unicorn floating across the top because they wanted some clouds. Just make this stuff easy on yourself, because this is a tool, it is not the entire campaign, so if it's taking up all of your time, don't. Because otherwise you're going to end up on a video for libertarians and they'll be making fun of you. So, are there any questions on online tools? Rex?
I use Pyrrhus on my campaign. Has anybody else had issues with them? I mean, donations take them about a month to show up in my account.
I
never had that problem with PayPal, but I automatically transferred it, or I transferred it myself in PayPal. Pyrrhus does it on its own.
On its own.
But
It is delayed a little bit. I did notice that, but I'm not.
I know that Rupert's campaign has had some issues with that. I think they've talked to Pyrrhus. So call Evan, and Evan McMahon may be able to help you out with that. I don't know. I've not used Pyrrhus. I only use USA ePay. And we are extremely happy with New Tech and USA ePay. It's the cheapest out there, and it gives us all the tools that the other guys have. Pyrrhus is a little more graphics, a little better looking than USA ePay, but we don't have those kind of problems with USA ePay. But I don't know how long that takes to set up. Pyrrhus is pretty easy. So I would recommend calling Pyrrhus directly or asking Evan if he's had discussions with them about that. Anybody else? All right, thank you.